Do you know the critical difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved to buy a home? Then stay tuned, because we're going to show you why getting pre-approved for your home loan makes the difference between the worst possible experience, not getting your offer accepted, or even worse, falling out of escrow, and closing on the home you want to buy. That's coming up next.
We're Glen and Kelly Nelson with Realty ONE Group West, and we recently asked a trusted mortgage advisor to explain the critical difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification for your home loan.
We recently sat down with Keith Murphy, a 25-year seasoned mortgage advisor with Essex Mortgage, to get an insider's view of all things home loan related. We created a series of videos to give you the inside scoop on different types of lenders who make mortgage loans, the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification, renting versus buying, and the importance of a great mortgage lender.
This is the second video in the series, and we're covering the importance of getting pre-approved for a home loan, not just getting pre-qualified.
So the next thing, then, let's move on and talk about what is the difference between that home loan pre-qualification versus a loan pre-approval. So I know you can speak to that both as having been the mortgage broker and the mortgage banker.
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that I get asked a lot that people get confused by. To break it down in simple terms, the pre-qualification is when you get on the phone or sit in front of a lender and they say, well, where do you work? How long have you been on your job? What do you make? What's your debt load look like? Let's run your credit. And then based upon those numbers can say, well, based on guidelines, you're qualified for X. But most people think that when they've gone through that process, which takes about 15 minutes, that they're now approved. They're not approved, they're pre-qualified. An actual pre-approval is when you now document all that information in the form of 2 years of tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, where an underwriter logs into the file, looks at every single piece of information, does background checks with the IRS to make sure that those tax returns were actually the same ones that the IRS has on file.
Right.
Social Security background checks, verifications of employment, written verifications of employment, because a client tells me they've been on the job for 2 years. What if they miscalculated their start date and they've only been on the job for 1.8 years? Right. And it's a brand new industry from what they had been in before. That little gap in time could be a problem, and you don't want to find out that that's a problem after you've fallen in love with a home, written an offer, and went into escrow. You don't want to find that out then.
Yes.
You want to know before.
Yes. I remember that we had a client who was going through the pre-approval process with you, and while the lady of the house had been on her job for a while, she had been hired by a temp agency and then was on the job with the firm itself, had gone from temp to a permanent employee position, and that played a role in them having to wait just a little bit more time for seasoning and that sort of thing. So,
and I think this is a very good and relevant question, because in these days and times, everybody wants convenience. Everybody wants things to be done quickly. We all do. And the banks know this and are developing apps where you can seemingly, per the television commercials, get on your phone, push a button to get a loan. And that is a marketing tactic that I think a lot of people, because they want that ease and quickness, and from the convenience of their home, are assuming, since they put in their information, it says, congratulations, you're approved, that all that due diligence that I just spoke about has been done. And it hasn't. And it won't be done until you're in escrow, because most banks don't want to go through the process, the steps of underwriting a loan when they don't know that the client's actually gonna end up buying a home.
Right.
They're gonna wait till they buy the home and then do the due diligence. In fact, Truly, I believe it was, just came out with a survey last year, and I found it fascinating. 44% of all first-time buyers that were interviewed, and there was something in the neighborhood of 3,600 plus people, 44% of them said that they cried, not with tears of joy, with tears of pain. 44% cried at one point through the escrow process. And I know what the point was. It's when they found out that the home of their dreams wasn't going to close escrow because of those things such as, oh, I thought being on a temp agency was a job. Oh, I thought I was there for 2 years. It was close enough. Isn't that good enough? You want to find out if there's any bumps in the road up front, and the only way you can do that is to get pre-approved before you go online and start searching for homes, before you get in, your car, Kelly, and go search with clients for homes. They really need to nail down the financing piece, because if they do, it can be a great experience.
Right. Yes. I know for me personally, I've been in that position of just having to ask clients to be patient with the process, to be willing to submit all of that paperwork. And fortunately, I do have a banking background, and I can just say that every time I've had to turn down someone for a loan in the past, in my banking career, it was because they failed to inform me of one piece of the pie, and it ultimately came down to that. So be honest, be truthful, give everything that the lender asks. They're not asking for it just to complicate your life and make things difficult for you. It's required. The banks are FDIC insured, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and that puts all kinds of limitations and checklists in front of the underwriter and the mortgage banker, that those are things they have to follow in order to be able to move that file along and get you an approval. So great analysis, and I really appreciate that. I think the more people understand that they can, if they get that part covered, they can move on, start looking at homes, and they can be really excited because they know exactly what they can afford.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Be sure to watch our next video in this series, where you'll learn the significant benefits of buying versus renting. For more great information on the home buying process, be sure to get our free Things to Consider When Buying a Home. Just click the link in the description box.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you the next time.